So let's take a look at the couple of steps of the Porter stemmer, and keep in mind this is we're just scratching the surface here. So it's we can't I can't describe the whole Porter stemmer. It would take the whole course to go through that. But let's look at a couple of examples, right? So in English, a couple of big things that you want to do. The first thing is plurals, right? So English forms plurals by sticking an S on the end of things. So if you're a stemmer, the first natural thing that you'd want to do is you'd want to go in and strip an S off. That looks like a simple thing to do, except in English, of course, there's lots and lots of caveats to that rule, right? We can strip an S in a word like gaps, and we get a normal word gap. That's what we want. But if a word is gas, we don't want to strip an S off the end, because this S doesn't, it's not the S that makes the word a plural. Right? If you strip S from gas, you just get ga, which is strange, and so it's not gas is not a plural of something. Right? So it has this rule that, okay, yes, you delete the S, but you only delete it if the previous part of the word has a vowel in it, and you can't do it if that vowel occurs before the S. Then you don't strip the S off, right? So that takes care of the gas. Okay. So another example in English. Endings like ed for the past tense of verbs, or ing, you want to strip those off. And again, it seems like a simple thing. You always strip off ing, but again, you realize, no, it's not quite as simple. So you do strip it off, but then if the word ends up ending in at or bl or iz, then you strip off an ing and then you add an e at the end. Seems strange, right? But that's to take words like pirating, strip off an ing, and then add an e to get the normal word pirate. Now, why do you care if that e is there or not? Porter will produce stems anyway, so pirate should be good enough without the e. It is good enough if you stopped after step 1. The problem is Porter has 4 more steps, and some of those steps will rely on having an e at the end of pirate. So you can't just strip off an ing, you strip it off and you put an e in the end so that the subsequent steps don't get confused by that. Right? So here's another one of those. So if the word ends in a double letter, then you remove the last letter, except if the double letter is an L or an S or a Z. Right? So what that means is if you have the word dripping, you strip off an ing, you end up with drip with double P's, right? And then you strip off the last letter and you get the normal word drip, which you can pass on to the next stage of the stemmer. But if you have the word falling, then you actually keep the double L, because fall is the natural word of the word, right? So you get a scratch, you get a sampling for how messy English is for morphology, and compared to English, a lot of other languages are a lot more complex. So it's a hard thing to build one of those. This is just the first step of Porter, and it has four more steps going after that. Okay, so now if you run the stemmer, this is the sort of results that you could get. So here's an original text. The document will describe marketing strategies carried out by US companies for their agricultural chemicals. So here's what Porter does to that. So it says document will, it chops it off, describe turned into describe, market, strategies turned into strategy, right? So again, Porter is producing stems. It's not producing readable words. These are meant for indexing, not necessarily for the human eyes. And this is what the Krovetz does. Krovetz basically produces words as opposed to stems. So you get describe, you get strategy, singular, you get company, singular, and so on.